two options like public and private. And if I try to push, now the push should fail because unable to access the particular remote repository. Hello folks, welcome back to QV Bro. I hope you guys had a great week. So today I'm back on another Friday with another video. So if you can remember, last week we started on GitHub and we created our account and we did the customizations on our profile. I hope you guys got a chance to go through those things and create your GitHub account. So today we can talk more about the other available features on the GitHub. So yeah, the week before last, we started working on the GIT. And if you can remember, I mentioned about some terms like the repository and also some commands like GIT Pull, Push, those things. So today we can see how we can use those script commands with GitHub. Okay, so I want to recall your memory related to the version control systems on the distributed version, where I mentioned that there will be a remote repository as well. The version database will be there. It's the distributed version. And also then the same copy will be there on local as well. So when talk about JIT, we saw like how we can create a project and then how to initialize it with JIT and then how to do our commits and everything. So today I will show you how we can create that remote repository. So I mentioned last week GitHub is used to host these remote repositories. So GitHub give those additional features to JIT. So yeah, here I will show you how you can create the remote repository, then how you can get the copy to local as the local version database, and those stuff we can see today. And we can use the remaining commands which we skipped on the last video. So yeah, so you should be logged in. So you can see I'm logged in from our created account. And here on the dashboard page, you can see there is an option called the create repository. So I will click on the create repository option, and now you can see it will come to a new page. Here you can see the owner. If you are logged from, if you have multiple accounts here, in that case, in the drop down, you will see the other accounts as well. I currently have only the QV Bro account, and you can give a repository name. So to keep things simple, I will use a simple name. Let's say our first project. I used the camel case letters. Here you can see for the wordings, and also here you can see now the project name is available under this owner. There is no project or no repository called this first project. So in that case, it will allow me to create repository with this name. And also, yeah, you guys also can use the same name because the owner is different. So always it will take owner and the repository name both. So in that case, like for different owners, you can have same name for the repository name, but for the same owner, the repository name should be unique. And also, other than that, you can give an optional description as well. So it is like for any visitor to have an idea about like what this repository or what this project is. So likewise, you can give an optional description. It is optional. So yeah, I will give this is my first project. Okay. And also there are two options like public and private. So if you keep this as public, so anyone else, any visitor also can see this repository. So I hope you can remember the video on JIT. I mentioned about a file called JIT ignore at the end. So I mentioned that if you want to skip anything from committing, so in that case you can add maybe the file path or the file extension to this JIT ignore file. So I mentioned the file name should be .jitignore. Again, this is also similar to the README, like either you can add it from here or else later also you can add it from your local, and then you can commit and push that file to this remote repository. So here also I will add this file from here, so then it will be easy. So here you can see there are some templates. So based on your language, those stuff, you can select a template file. So in that case, this template will have some content by default, some file paths and extensions related to that particular language. So the things you need to skip. So yeah, if you are using Java, yeah, you can see the Java option is here. And also if you are using Maven, so in that case you can select it as Maven. So yeah, if the build tool is Maven, so if you are creating the project with build tool as Maven, so you can create the gitignore file, the template as Maven. The Gradle option also there. So likewise, you can select different options based on your choices. So yeah, for the time being, I will put it as Java. And then the third option is to choose a license. So license will be also useful because now since I put this as the public repository, so anyone else can use my code or can download my repository and they can do anything. But if you think like you need to restrict those things, then the best option is to add a license file. For license also, you can see there are different available options are there. The Apache license 2.0, the GNU general public license, MIT license. Likewise, these are some general used licenses. Those are available. You can read these licenses for the available options under the restrictions on this license, and then based on your need you can select the best matching license type for you. So I will go with this the general public license 3.0 version. Yeah. So and then here there is another important thing. Here it will say this will set main branch as the default branch. So I hope you can remember about the branching and the merging we discussed. There I mentioned that there will be a main branch. So from the main branch we take these feature branches out and then later we merge these feature branches again to the main branch or the master branch. So here the master branch name is main. So this is the name of the master branch. It is the main. So and also you can see here if you need to change the default name from the settings page later also you can change the name of the master branch. Okay, so I will create the repository. So now you can see it will take some time and it will create your the first repository. So here if you check the URL, now you can see github.com, then my profile QVBro, the username. Under that you can see the name you given to your repository, first project. Okay, so here also it shows the profile name and then the project name. And now you can see there are multiple tabs here. So yeah, we have to do a couple of videos to cover all these tabs. Yeah, don't worry. So I will cover all those things. And then the about section, this is the optional description which I gave at the create repository page, if you can remember. And then you can see the files which I added. So here it will list down all the files in the project. So if you commit anything and push anything, so all those files will be listed down here. So you can see the gitignore file is there, the license file is there, and the readme file is there. The readme extension, if you see, it's MD, the markdown text. I will do a separate video to cover this markdown text. And here you can see the commit ID was generated, and for the first commit it automatically added the commit message. So if you can remember the JIT video, JIT commit, then we used M flag, then within the quotes we gave the commit message. So similarly, so this is the commit message. This is here it added as the initial commit and it generated the SHA for our initial commit, and the timestamp is there. Here it will show the number of commits, and if you go inside you can see more information about the commits. And here you can see the branches. So it said like our master branch name will be main, and currently we have only one branch. So currently by default we are on the main branch, and on the main branch we have our first commit called initial commit, and it's verified. And here you can see the commit details inside. If you go here, it will show like what are the files or what are the changes related to this particular commit. So I added the 3 files in my commit: gitignore, license, and the readme. So those information will be visible like this. You can see. So this green color means things which are newly added. if there are things removed, then it will be shown in the red color. So yeah, I will show it. Yeah, so those are like the information here. Then the files changed, those things are there. Yeah, let's go back to the code. And here also on the right hand side there are some information, the link to the readme file. So the readme here, it will, since it is markdown like the HTML we use, so to create the web pages we use HTML. In HTML we use these HTML codes and the tags. Those things will be rendered and it will be shown to us as this kind of like after rendering. Similarly, in markdown also there are some ways where you can style your code, style your text, or how to link images likewise. Then those things will be rendered out like this. Here you can see the title was like the text size is increased, then it is like it is bolded, then there is a line, then normal paragraph size text is there without bolding, likewise different styles are there. So I will definitely talk about those, the markdown and the styles, how to create the markdown files in next video. So yeah, so the next link is for the license file you added, and from this tab also you can change and you can read the GNU general public license version 3.0 which I added. Then here also you can see there is a edit file option, so you can edit the selected file, the license file. Likewise you can edit it from the UI itself, and then here there is the option to see the activity related to this repository. If you go inside, currently we have nothing much, only the initial commit. So only that will be visible here. Later we can see after doing some changes. And then stars. So here stars means like, it's like you are subscribing to a social media account, one of your favorite celebrities, you will go and subscribe. Similarly, here you can see the star option is there. Currently we don't have any stars because nobody has come and put a star to this. So yeah, if you guys want, you can try out, you can come to the repository and you can click here. Then it will mark as a star. It's kind of like marking it as a favorite for you guys. So since this is my repository, yeah, so I also can star it to mark it as like the favorite. And yeah, still didn't update it. Let's maybe refresh. Yeah, now you can see it was updated as 1 star. And then if you go here, you can see like the stargazers. All the means like if I have followed someone and if that person came and star this one, then those people will be listed under and the other people and everyone will be in the old tab. So yeah, so I opened this in the incognito window. So here you can see, for this is my profile, and for profile you had the follow option. So I showed this last week as it. So to follow you need to be signed in. Similarly, now you can see inside the repositories, I can see my first repository because it was marked as public. If you mark this as private, you will not be able to list this repository here. And if I go inside the first project repository, okay, and yeah, I can start this again. To start, I need to be signed in from another account. So yeah, so that is like what star does here, like. And also, yeah, the watch unwatch option is there. Since like I created this repository, it will be watched for me. So if you similarly, either you can star some repositories or you can mark it as watch some repositories. And then forks, I will talk about it later. Currently we haven't created any releases or packages. Those things, don't worry, I will cover. Yeah, so like those are the things on the home page of the repository, at the code page level. So the other tabs I will cover in separate videos because those are some advanced stuff we have to need to cover much. So yeah, before that, now like since the next part, now we have the remote repository created. Now you need to create the link between, or you need to take this remote repository to your local workspace. To do that, under this code option, you can see there are multiple options to clone. So this is the GIT clone command. If you can remember, there were some commands which we skipped. One of those commands is GIT clone. So GIT clone is to copy this remote repository to your local machine. To do that also, there are multiple options. Either you can use the HTTPS method, or else you can use SSH. But to use SSH, so yeah, last week also I mentioned that you need to add the public key. So under the profile and under the settings, you can see these SSH and GPG keys. There is the option to add new SSH key. You need to generate the SSH key at your local, and then you need to copy paste that key to here. So there are commands to generate the SSH key. So you can use those commands, and on the command on the terminal, on the CMD, you can generate the SSH key and then you can copy paste it here. So the other option is the GitHub client. You can use one of these available options in order to clone the project to your local. And also you can open this with GitHub desktop. If you have the GitHub desktop application installed, you can open the code from there as well. Then the third option is to download it as a zip folder. So you can download the project as a zip folder, and then you can unzip it, and then also you can work. And so this is like to download this particular code into your local computer. And the other option is to have a code spaces. So code space means in GitHub I mentioned there are some advanced features as well. Code space is similar one. GitHub has its own IDE, and also it will provide you with a dev environment to compile your code. So code space I will talk later. So today let's see how you can get the code to local. So I will use the HTTPS method. So I can copy the URL, and then I need to go to the place which I need to download this, and I need to open the terminal there. Okay, so I will open the terminal. Okay. So I will use the command git clone. This is the command. Then I need to give the URL, which I copy pasted from here, the HTTPS URL. So now you can see it says cloning into. Okay, so yeah, it says 100%. So okay, now let's go and see whether it's downloaded. Yeah, so if you come, you can see the first project. So now it is here. If you go inside, now you can see the git ignore, the license file, the readme file, and also the hidden folder git. So if you can remember our first video, the git video, if you create a normal folder and go inside that, and if you use the command git init, then it will initialize and create the git repo. So at that time also it created this .git folder. Now in this case, I created the repository first from the GitHub, and then I downloaded it or cloned it. Then it will come with this git repo as well, the initialized folder, and the 3 files which I added. So now you can see the same repository, the same copy was taken to my local as well. Now you can see the remote repository is at GitHub. The local copy is at my local. So the same copy. Now the link has been created with Git and the GitHub, your local repository versus the remote repository. Now you can add any files or do any changes as you need here at your local copy, and then you can commit and push those changes to sync it with the remote repository. So commit and all the stuff I mentioned, I show you how to do in our Git video. So the remaining 2 commands is git pull and the git push. Git pull is used to take any new changes from the remote repository. For example, let's say there is another developer who is working on the same project. So he also has a clone at his local. So he do some updates, and he will, I will not use the push word here. So he will commit his changes, and then he will send his changes to sync with the remote repository, because now his local is a bit ahead of the changes. So he need to send his changes to the remote repository to sync the remote repository. Now, before that, I have taken the clone to my local. So in that case, those new changes is not there with me yet. Okay, I will show that as well. I will create a file here. So you can see the option to add file. So from the GitHub level also, I can create a new file. Okay. I will give a file name. So here you can give the name. I will give my first file. And I added some content as well. And I will commit those changes. So now you can see you can commit it through the UI as well. It is easy. I will commit and it will ask to the message, commit message. So this is what we pass inside that M flag when you use the command line. So I will give a meaningful message, commit message here. Oh, added a new file. So either you can commit directly to the main branch or from here you can create a new branch. So I will use that option. So you can give a branch name. I will give branch name as feature 1. Okay, I will use like this. The branch name is feature 1. So now from the main branch, it will create a new branch called the feature branch and commit these changes to that particular branch. So yeah, I will commit. And it will ask to create a pull request. So I will skip this. I will talk about the pull requests in a separate video or later. So okay, now you can see here, previously it was one branch. Now it shows us two branches. And if you go inside, you can see we have the default main branch and created feature 1 branch as well. And again, if you come back here, now here it is selected main branch. So this files related to the main branch. If I change this to the feature 1, now you can see my first file. The created new file will be visible under the feature 1 branch. So here you can switch between branches to see the changes. And also now you can see under the feature 1, now I have two commits. Here, this was the initial commit from the main branch. And then this is my new commit, create first file. And if I go inside this, you can see the change. It was shown with green and with the plus sign, the new changes, one addition. I hope those things are clear. Now, if you come here, back to the terminal, and if I use the command git branch, I need to go inside the folder, and I need to use the git branch here. You will see only the main branch because I take the clone, and after the taking the clone, I created the branch and committed the file. So in that case, those new changes are not yet synced to my local. So yeah, you need to manually do these things. It will not automatically take any updates from the remote branch to your local, or it will not send any updates from your local to remote, vice versa. So all these things you need to do manually, no automatic sync ups. So in that case, now I need to take these new changes. So what should you do? Should you delete this project and go back and do a reclone to take all those changes? No, right? No. It will cause you to lose your local changes. So in that case, to take the new updates from the remote repository, you can use the command git pull. So that means we are pulling from the upstream. So upstream is the remote repository and I'm on my local. I'm trying to pull changes from the remote repository to the local. And here if you check the messages, it says, remote enumerating objects and counting, compressing, then unpacking. That means it took all the changes 100% complete. And here it will show there is a new branch as well called the feature 1. Now those changes are taken to my local and my local is synced up. Okay, so you saw that how you can take the pull. And now if I want to check out to that particular branch, you can use the commands. First branch. Okay, I think we misspelled. Okay, sorry, feature 1. Okay, now we have switched to the new branch and now you can do any changes here. Okay, I will go inside the project and then the first file. Now you can see it's visible here, and then I will open it to do some changes. Okay, local, and I will update here. Okay, and then I will try to commit these changes. So you know how to do that. First you need to add, then you need to commit, you need to give a message as well. Okay, now I have commit my changes, but still these commits will not be synced because the commit, those changes will be still on my local. And if you check the GIT status, okay, you can see now my branch is ahead because now I have one commit, and also there is nothing to commit, everything is committed. But if you come here and if you, okay, let's do a refresh, and I'm on the feature, I will change to feature 1 and the first file is there. So here if you check, still it didn't update, still the old changes are there. It's because all my changes are still at the local level even though I commit. Yeah, commit means I update my local version database, but not the remote. I haven't synced yet. To sync these things, I need to use the command GIT push. So pull means I am taking changes from remote repository to the local repository. Similarly, pull means I am pulling these changes from my local repository to the remote repository to the upstream. So I need to use the command GIT push. Okay, and it will ask to sign in with the GitHub as well here. Okay, I will sign in with their option. If you have added a personal access token to the GitHub, you can use that one, or else you can sign in with a code, or else you can sign in with the browser. I will go with the browser option, and it will ask me to, okay, so the Git credential manager asking to sync this, so to allow for the single sign-on, and so these are the things which it will give the permission for the repositories, codes, issues, pull requests, and likewise it will list down the information. The workflow means the GitHub actions, and yeah, so I can authorize here, and it will ask for my password. Yeah, I will give the password and I will confirm it. Authentication was successful, and you can see now it synced. So here asked authentication, it was successful. Now you can see, okay, remote resolved in Delta, and it says this is the commit ID, and it was sent to the remote repository from the local. Now if you go and refresh here the first project, and if you switch back to the feature 1 branch, and here now you can see there are 3 commits, and if you go and open the file, you will see my new changes are there. And also here, now let's go to the commits, and from the commits also let's see. Okay, so this is the commit. Now you can see because the first line I did some updates, I removed this particular word. So in that case it shows as there is a removal, so that's why it's showing in this the orange color or the red color with the minus option, then the plus sign for the newly added line. So likewise it will show the changes. Now I hope you understand git clone, git pull, and git push commands as well, and the concept behind the remote repository and the syncing with local and the remote. I hope all those things are clear. Okay, then yeah, so if you go to activity from here, now you can see the commits, all those information are there, all branches, so you can switch between different branches likewise. So that is part related to this home page in your repository. Then the next important part is inside the settings. So if you go to settings, you can see there again a full list of options are available. So yeah, from here also if you need, you can rename your the repository name. Currently we have the first project. If you need, you can do a rename. Also you can make this as a template repository. By marking this as a template repository means next time if you want to go and create a repository, it will ask you to select it from a template repository or to create it from scratch. Yeah, I will show you. now I have added this as a template repository. So now you can see it added the green color icon. That means it was successful. Okay, now let's go to the GitHub dashboard page, and from here there is the option to create the new repository. If you go here, and now you can see there is the option called repository template, and under repository templates my first project will be visible because I marked it as a repository template. If I create a new repository using this template, then it will add all these things, the settings and everything taken out from this template, so this particular repository, to my new repository. So that is the use of marking this as a template repository. So in that case, that the initial setup things you don't need to duplicate, so you can save some time. So you can have one repository with all these settings and all the basic, the scratch initial stuff, and then every time when you need to create a repository, you can use the template repository. So that is the option here, the template repository. Then the next one, require contributors to sign off on web-based commits. So that means like here the information are there. The enabling this setting will require contributors to sign off on commits made through GitHub web interface. Signing off is a way for contributors to affirm that their commit complies with the repo's terms, commonly this information. So yeah, so you can, so the contributors means anyone who you have marked here to allow permission to commit, push those likewise. So then the default branch, here you can see the default branch name currently is main. If you want to change it to a different name, you can do the renaming. And also if you want to switch into another branch, currently we have two branches, the main branch and the feature one. If you want to mark the feature one as your master branch, you can update like this. So the feature one. Now if you go to your repository, by default here it will list the feature one branch as the default branch. Here you can see feature one is the default. Likewise, you can do those changes as well. I will revert back to the main branch. Okay. And here there's option to upload the image. So it will be like to preview your project, upload an image to customize your repos, social media preview. Okay, so yeah. And then these are like the features. So here you can see there are different tabs like the wiki, projects, actions. Likewise, there are some options. The tabs are available. So you can enable or disable those options, the extra features from here. So yeah, if I uncheck wikis, now you can see the wiki tab was removed. Then here there is the tab called issues. If I come here and uncheck it, the issues tab was removed here. Now it was removed. Likewise, you can enable, disable those options from here. I will talk about this each feature later. Likewise, all these features you can turn on and off from here. Then the pull request. A pull request means when I talk about the branches and the merging I mentioned. So you create the branch and then you will merge. So you can allow users to either directly merge these things, or you can ask them to create a pull request. A pull request means when you have changes in your branch, you can restrict them from directly merging these things to the master branch, because there can be some issues with the branch, the changes they have done. So in that case, if they create a pull request, then they can ask some other the peer colleagues to review this. The peer reviews can be done, and once the approvals are there, they can merge those changes. So in that case, you can use these PRs known as the pull requests. So there is the tab called the pull requests here. Yeah. So however, the features related to the pull request can be enabled, disabled from here. I will talk more these things which the pull requests. Yeah. And also always suggest updating pull request branch, allow auto merge. So yeah, those things I will talk. And also if you want to archive, there's the option. When creating source code archives, you can choose include files stored using GIT LFS. So yeah, you can enable that feature as well. And also pushers. Limit how many branches and tags can be updated in a single push. So up to 5 branches. Likewise. So you saw the push command. So if you do some changes in your local and if you want to update the remote repository, you can commit and then you can use the git push command. So you can do any changes locally, commit those things, and then you can use git push command to sync it to the remote repository. So you can limit how many branches or tags can be updated within a single push. Otherwise, like one person can work on multiple branches, like let's say around 10 branches, and commit, and so he will not push and he will keep all those changes, and then once like all 10 is done, he will try to push. That you can limit. If you give it as 5, after 5, so he will not be allowed to push 10 branch changes at once. So that is the limitation for that. And also the visibility. Currently the repository is at public. If you want to change it to private, you can change it from here. So in that case, outsiders will not be able to see this repository. Also, the branch protection rules are there. I will talk this with the PRs. And if you want to transfer ownership, so currently the QV Bro, I created the repo from the QV Bro account. So QV Bro, so I am the owner of this repository. If I want to transfer this to someone else, so to some other owner, so organization or some other user, I will give my personal one. So I need to give my username here, and then I need to type this part here to confirm, and then if I click this, the particular repository will be transferred from QV Bro to this Vimukti 101 account. So yeah, I will not transfer it now. You can try out those things. So that is to transfer the ownership of the repository. And then if you want to archive these and delete, so these are two different things. Archiving means the repository will be still available, but at read only. No one will be able to commit or push any changes. But if you delete this repository, the repository will be totally gone. So that is the difference. So you need to wisely think what you need to do. So if you think like, okay, you don't need the repository anymore, but you have no clear idea like what will happen in the future. So in that case, if you delete this, all the changes will be gone. So in that case, the best thing is maybe you can archive the repository. So in that case, the repository will be turned into read-only mode, but the changes will be there. One day, if you think like you need the repository back, you can unarchive it. So yeah, I will archive this. So yeah, it will say all scheduled workflows will stop running. The security features will be unavailable. Also, you need to, before archiving, you need to update any repository things. Likewise, they give some instructions, and you need to type this again here to confirm, and I will archive. Now, if you come back here, you will see it shows as publicly archived. And if you try to, this repo has been archived by the owner on 15th of July, and now it is read only. Now, if you go back to the files and if you try to do some changes, let's say, okay, I will try to add commit and push back, add, okay, then commit. And if I try to push, now the push should fail because unable to access the particular remote repository. Yeah, I was able to commit because I was updating my local version database, but I can't sync this to the remote repository because remote repository is archived and it is marked as read only. It will not accept any pushes. So remote repository was archived, it is in read only, and it returned error. So you will not be able to push any changes to this project again. So yeah, I will unarchive here. So that is the use case. Now, like one day if you think like, okay, I need this repository back, you can come back to the settings and unarchive option is there. Again, I need to type this part here, and I can unarchive this. Okay, now if you go and see, okay, now it is public, and now if you try to push your changes, it should allow. Okay, now you can see commit was pushed, and here it had only one commit. Okay, no, at the feature 1. Okay, now it was updated to 4 commits. Update the first 5, and here the hello part is there. So that is the use of archiving and unarchiving. And then if I try to delete, this whole repo will be gone. So that is why you need to think wisely and choose the best option suited for you, whether to archive or to delete. So yeah, those are the general settings. And then under collaborators, you will see you can add people here. So this is one missing option on the JIT. If you can remember, there was no access management, but here through GitHub they will allow those features, the feasibility, that flexibility is there. You can add people, and I will add my local profile, this one, and I will mark and pending invite. I need to go back to my particular account, and then I need to accept the invitation from there. So I also can collaborate with this repository. And also, if you think it is not needed, you can delete the access for this particular user. So yeah, that is about the collaborators. And then the moderation options, you can see in the interaction limits, you can set limit to existing users, it is enabled, or you can enable it for the time, 24 hours, 3 days, likewise. Also to prior contributors and to the repository collaborations, likewise, you can limit those collaborations based on the time periods. And then the code review limits, this is related to the pull requests. Limit to users explicitly granted read or higher access. Currently, since this is not ticked, all the users will be able to, but if I mark this, when enabled, only users explicitly granted access to this repo will be able to submit pull request reviews, approve or request changes. Right? I hope you got that point. So yeah, you can limit who will review the pull requests and request changes or approve these pull requests, so that you can change from here. And then code and automation section, you can see the branches. That will later. Yeah. Actions, webhooks, environments, code spaces. Likewise, there are different other options as well. Those things we can talk when we are discussing about those available features. Yeah. So likewise, the other options also. Yeah. The integrations are also there. The GitHub app you can install, and then you can have that integration, and also email notifications you can set. You can set up the email address to receive notifications. So you can give the email address here, and then you can mark and set up for notifications. Then it will send you notifications. Okay, so those are some settings available. And if you go to the insights, you can see all the information related to this repository, the contributors. Likewise, so those information are there. After doing some more changes or commits, you can see good graphs here. Yeah, so those are the basic things related to your repository part. I hope now those things are clear. Now you know how to create the remote repository and clone it to your local, and then work with JIT commits and the other commands at your local, and then sync your remote repository. And also now you know how to do and update settings related to your repository and those stuff. So I think those are the basic things related to the repository. I think this is enough for today. Otherwise, like, it will be a lot for you guys to remember. So please give a try on these things and do some practical parts. Otherwise, you will forget these things. And wait till next week. We can discuss about more interesting facts on the next week as well. So see you, and happy testing till then.